We're back. I'm back, I think. I've come back, had a couple of mic issues.
We did it.
We did it. Thank you so much to everyone behind the scenes. Of course, our fantastic producer, Brett, who was able to help me out and troubleshoot the actual issue. And yeah, I guess we're back in. I get to talk about what happened a little bit, you know, into the next game, because we already talked about the last one, but we're coming into this next one, and it's going to be Rell Betis with Karmine Corp. And this is, honestly, these are the guys that everyone's looking at for Karmine Corp. These guys are I'm going to say it, they're the tournament favorites.
Yeah, I mean, look, honestly, when I look at this team, it's like best jungle support duo in the league, best AD carry, in my opinion, as well in the league. Like, I think that these guys just kind of have it all. And when you look at Saken as well, the guy used to play for Vitality, he's coming back onto this roster. He looks so good as well. Like, it just looks impossible to not love this team and not be hyped for them.
Yeah, honestly, and it's kind of an interesting one as well. We're kind of looking at this team, and you're saying, you know, they're so hyped. Whereas I look at, you know, Rell Betis, and I'm there kind of going like, these guys are nuts. These guys are crazy. They'll just bring out random stuff like Shaco, Kha'Zix, who cares? And that kind of makes me excited, because in a best of one format, in a situation where you only play each other twice, once each side of the, you know, kind of the rift, that's the kind of thing we were talking about earlier, where, like, you know, Rell Betis could come in and just go like blah, and then you're like, oh, and it's like, oh, it'll never work again. That's a cheap jump scare, but it worked this time. God damn it! And that's what makes me excited for this
like
team.
When I started off, I was like, you know what? I'm looking at the Karmine. I'm like, yeah, okay, they tick that box. They tick that box. This is great. This is perfect. And then I just kind of went, all right, cool. We're now looking across at Lebron, who's played like Shaco, Kha'Zix, Evelyn. This guy is just like, you know what? Whatever I'm feeling, I'm just going to play that assassin. And I love it, because that's the kind of stuff that makes this game so exciting. Because yes, you can go and you can play all this perfect League of Legends, but honestly, sometimes people just throw wrenches into the works, and you're like, I actually haven't played against the Kha'Zix jungle in forever. Now, you see a lot of it when you look over at the, well, not a lot, but certainly more of it when you look over at the LVP. And I think that's where you're starting to see kind of some of these guys being flexed around. But certainly when you look at like Lebron coming in for Rell Betis, I think you've got to look very much at like banning away the Hecarim, making sure you're comfortable playing against some of these crazier picks, but also looking out for whiteinn. This guy has been playing a hell of a lot of Alistar. It's his by far most played, and he will very often go for these quick resets in the bottom lane, move towards mid, and see if he can catch teams unaware. And honestly, that's kind of what the game plan feels like for Rell Betis coming into this, is trying to see if they can catch people unaware with these funky drafts, with this funky playstyle, and just going, hey, look, you have your League of Legends, we've got ours.
Yeah, honestly, I'm excited for this. And you mentioned about perfect League of Legends, you could play it that way, but, you know, LCK finals are boring, you know, and you don't want to go with perfect. You want entertainment, you go towards something else. You go towards maybe a more entertaining kind of side of things, more crazy as such, and that's what I love about, you know, a team like Rell Betis. They kind of just throw out those random cards, if you will, of just kind of like, well, what about this? And then you're kind of like, well, do you have an answer or not? And you can see already they are respecting it on the start of Karmine Corp. They are banning away the Evelyn, and honestly, I think this is a smart move.
Yeah, I think it definitely is. Like, when you look at Rell Betis, they're a team that revolves very heavily around picks, and they love being able to use these assassins to get that, working with whiteinn, who kind of plays bot for a little bit and then just becomes a secondary mid lane or a secondary river jungler thing. So I think, honestly, when you're looking towards this, that needs to be where you focus here as Karmine Corp. You need to make sure that you're getting into these more kind of safe places, but you can see the respect being paid on the opposite side as well from our Spanish representative. We look at xMatty, has played several games of this Jinx when it came towards the LFL final. He looked muy bueno on it. He looked absolutely fantastic. So they're going to take that off the board. And then when you look across as well at the Rise, that's been the Saken pocket pick forever. And when we just saw Nuclear and dismantle our British representative with that, they give that due respect and they take it off the board.
Yep, this is of course going to be the first match for the LVP and the LFL, the two teams. So you want to start off strong. You want to make sure that you're giving the best representation you possibly can. Seraphine, first pick here for the side of Rell Betis. I gotta say, like, I like it. I like the idea behind it. You know, something supportive, something that can just open up something around, like you said, for whiteinn and for Lebron.
Yeah, and well, it's certainly for Miniduke in the mid lane. This is where we've seen it traditionally go when BTS get their hands on this pick, and it opens up a lot because as we talked about with those picks, as you just mentioned with Lebron, enabling something like a Volibear or an Olaf is going to work wonders. So now we're going to have that Volibear plus this Seraphine, more than likely still getting like a very strong engage to it from whiteinn in this bottom lane, and that's a very terrifying 3-man roaming death squad that BTS can look to play around.
Yeah, honestly, it feels like this is kind of exactly what they want to gotta go for, but something that has been creeping into the meta to deal with these hyperscaling comps, to deal with these specifically these hyperscaling AD carries, has been that Varus pick. And as slowly but surely we've been seeing those nerfs coming in to all the other AD carries, he's been creeping slowly but surely up.
Yeah, I think it's just the flexibility that Varus offers. You can go towards kind of the more hyperscaling style where you go for the on-hit Varus, or you can go for this poke Varus, go for the more lethality style. But I think in this situation, going towards the on-hit probably works a little bit better. I think the reason that they're taking Varus in this scenario is more so that they can try and disengage when you get all this like Seraphine ults, when you get the Volibear trying to jump in and just kind of like, okay guys, take a breather, reset this, let's try and get our grips with this fight and then come back at us.
See what they want to try and ban out. You can see top lane is the name of the game here for KC. The K-Corp taking away the Gnar and the Gangplank, whereas we see the Olaf being banned away here from the side of Rell Betis, which is interesting considering the Udyr has already been picked, so not quite sure where they thought that particular Udyr pick was going to be going, or maybe even where the Olaf pick might have been going themselves, and they actually ban away the Darius, and that to me screams that is either a Volibear top and they've yet to pick their jungle.
I honestly think that it's the Sion top that Rubio is probably looking at. We've seen Adam bring this out consistently. We've seen it in the LEC as well come out. It's just a crazy strong pick, but it doesn't matter. They're just going to go towards the Croc. They're going to go, right, Adam, you are been fantastic on these bruisers. You've been playing much more of a kind of a weak style top side while we put a lot of our resources into expanding the bottom lane. Renekton fixed that perfectly. You can have this team fighter that can do really well. You can have a really strong lane, but at least you're able to keep yourself safe while we put our attention elsewhere.
No, it's actually going to be the Urgot going in now. So kind of a soft counter here for the Renekton. And we're going to potentially have the Lovers duo in the bot side as well. Yeah, locked and loaded. That's going to be Xayah, Rakan in the bot side. So you can see here, they're very much leaning on that kind of like AD carry and top side carries here for the side of Rell Betis.
I'm not actually the biggest fan of the Urgot. I think it looks really good in the lane phase, right, against the Renekton. But when I look towards kind of coming in towards team fights, if you're not able to close that gap because, oh, well, I've been shockwaved and slowed by the dissonance, I'm dealing with this Varus who's got chains of corruption everywhere, it doesn't quite have the same level of power. Now, it will be enabled, of course, by the Seraphine, which should make things easier, but I'm still going to wait and see how big of an impact Rubio can have with this Urgot. But as we do get that Rell pick locked in, it certainly looks like, at least from Karmine Corp's perspective, they're not going to go towards some Enchanter in the bot lane and try and play keep away. They're just going to play this dive style as well, and that at least should give Rubio a lot more pressure in these team fights and enable this Urgot for those flash fears and just really controlling those team fights through that CC.
Yeah, and we can see there for K-Corp, they decided to lock in the Rell. Another is still very, very powerful pick despite the nerfs that went into on top of her. And that is going to be like a dive buddy, like you said, for the Renekton, for the Udyr. Someone who can help set up those fights. If you can get that flank off with the Renekton, that is a very powerful combination that we saw, you know, to a certain extent, kind of with the Alistar and the Renekton in our previous game. And I kind of want fireworks right now, Dagda. I want to see what Rell Betis can bring into this one. I want to see if they can make this one kind of go. You have the big encore should you need it, but it's not, you know, it's not everything. I want to see what they can try to do to try and stop this absolute freight train of a dive that is going to be coming out from K-Corp.
Well, honestly, I really like the composition for it, right? I mean, you've got self-peel coming through from Namex, you've got really good engage coming through from Miniduke as well, and like allowing Rubio and Lebron into these fights alongside whiteinn, like it feels like, at least at the moment, BTS have a lot of answers for the way that Karmine Corp want to play this game. I want to see, though, how LeBron controls this early game, though, because it feels like if Cinkrof is able to try and play up towards Adam in this top side, they can do a lot of damage against Rubio in the early stages of the game. You've got a very powerful mid-jungle 2v2 as well with the Udyr and the Orianna that could look to punish Miniduke as soon as Saken hits level 6. So I think you've got a lot on LeBron's shoulders here to keep Cinkrof under check.
Well, Matt Ward's going to do a nice little job of keeping him a little bit in check around the Raptors, and LeBron going to be hoping for nothing but net as he works towards his bot side of the jungle. And again, like you said, kind of a little bit on him, but knows that there's a war going down, so he could play around this and kind of decide where he wants to kind of show himself. He isn't going to try and take too much time, though. Just going to show himself straight away on that ward, so they know he's starting on that bot side. And again, kind of standard lane assignments here for both teams.
Yeah, I'm looking at this early game coming through from BTS, though, because one of the things we highlighted was whiteinn loves to go for these third wave crashes on bot side, resetting into a mid lane play. So I want to see now, when you've got this Xayah and Rakan, if they're able to make that aggressive push forward. But it certainly looks like at the moment, with Targamas getting control of the bush, Karmine Corp should be able to get advantages in this bottom lane and keep them honest.
Yeah, try to keep him a little bit honest there. You can see the trades coming down pretty equal, for being honest, around either side of it, as to try and see if they can get any kind of advantage. But you can see already the push is there. Ooh, two-man stun into the knock-up. That's just a good bit of damage being put down here. You can see xMatty with the hail of arrows bringing down the Xayah almost to death. And I think that's someone we want to talk about a little bit as well. When you talk about Corp, you talk about, you know, kind of oppressive problems. You said it at the start of the, you know, kind of setup, is that xMatty is the guy, you know, one of the, if not the best ADC in the tournament right now. The guy has got so much going for him and really is pushing himself to the forefront of being maybe the next, as part of the next generation of, you know, E-Master superstars that go to LEC.
Yeah, I mean, look, xMatty has been around for a long, long time in the EU Masters. He's been here for the last 2 years. He finished in the semi-finals in 2019 spring with Fnatic Rising, and this guy's just been a beast. And he, especially now when he's playing on Karmine Corp, and they're willing to give a lot more resources to him, where Saken will often play down that side alongside Cinkrof. He has grown into his own as a massive carry. He's some of the best mechanics for an AD carry that we have in the league, and this is coming from like multiple people in the EU scene, the likes of Veteran and stuff, who will tout his praises for years.
Right now we are seeing that prowess and that power of him able to kind of, you know, keep everyone at arm's length, put down the harass, keep himself ahead on CS. You know, it's a combination of a lot of different things. We can see now LeBron, after taking the top scuttle, thinks he might be able to try and challenge for the spot one, but he'll find very quickly that it's already been taken. Level 4 Cinkrof, and now LeBron needs to be a little careful up to where he goes. Saken as well, not a huge amount of mana, as we did see the TP coming in here from the Seraphine. They're trying to see if they can be interested here, as Cinkrof Naruto runs his way as a giant chicken into that mid lane, just to make sure nothing too untoward happens to his mid laner.
I love that Targamas is already grouping up with Cinkrof, though. You can see that was one of the big focuses we had for this early game. It's xMatty late, but this jungle support duo in the early stages, and already trying to make sure that they can keep Saken safe, let him scale. And certainly when we look towards, again, that level 6 mark with the Orianna having access to Shockwave, the mid-jungle plus support combo is so terrifying for Karmine Corp. Top Adam, nearly getting Rubio.
Yeah. Nearly got him there, got the flash out of him anyway, and gonna be forcing the TP as well. And that is the power of the top side from Karmine Corp, as they just try and keep the pressure down. And honestly, the way I'm looking at this is like, you know, this kind of slow, methodical kind of early laning phase, this is fine for the side of Corp. This is fine for them moving forward, as they just look to try and choke the side of Rell Betis out with those objectives, with just having those dive buddies in the Udyr, the Rell, and the Renekton. It's, you know, they're kind of, again, finding those very small advantages that just lead to them having a much bigger impact in the later fights.
Well, I mean, look, it's more efficient pathing coming through from Cinkrof. He's been really stellar at making sure that he's actually getting these leads over LeBron, playing through his lane states to make sure that he's able to get those advantages. And especially when you've got Adam, who's controlling this top side of the map so well, that gives you just so much pressure when it comes towards the likes of the Rift Tower that's going to spawn in 3 minutes. If you want to go for a reset here, you can see that xMatty and Targamas already get their own resets in. You could very quickly start up this dragon off the push that they're going to create in the bottom side of the map. Like, neutral objective control for Corp is so strong right now.
And look at the wards they have on that top side as well. You can see just covering all entrances of the jungle in that top lane. Thank you so much, observers. And they're just highlighting to us right now is that, like, if you're on the side of Real Betis, you can't enter that top side of the jungle without being spotted. So it gives you so much information. And guess what? If you don't see him on that top side, you know he's probably on the bot.
Yeah, and look, here's that jungle support duo that we were talking about, right? They're going in towards the spot side, make sure that they're linking up to make sure that they can get more vision. And as a team, BTS have played heavily through picks in this early to mid game. The fact that you're getting so much control over their jungle makes it very hard for them to play this style and link up with Lebron and whiteinn towards Miniduke in that mid lane.
Again, it's just talking about, choking out, getting those objectives. They're fine with a lane state that's just kind of set up like this, but we'll see now if Lebron wants to make something happen in his bot side. He will finish off his Krugs. Not quite level 6, is still about 2 camps behind his opposite number from Cinkrof, and this is kind of just the power you get with someone like an Udyr. Udyr just clears so much faster, is able to keep himself safe and just run around this map so much better than you can, and that means an early Drake going over to the side of Karmine Corp.
I think it's just honestly Corp playing the map so much better, right? Cinkrof has very efficiently been clearing his jungle, whereas Lebron has kind of been hovering, seeing if maybe he can get into some of these lanes, and it just hasn't quite worked out. And we just talked about it before this as well, right? xMatty and Targamas get that push, get the quicker reset. They're able to keep control of the wave. So if anything goes wrong as Cinkrof is starting up this dragon, they've got first move. So now, again, you get this first dragon, Cinkrof is off power farm in his jungle once again, and when you look at the individual lane states, well, Saken is outperforming Miniduke. You've got the outperformance coming in from bot side as well, and it's really looking tough for BTS in this game.
I was thinking about making a BTS joke there for a while, but I realized I've been silent for quite a few seconds. I was like, I don't know BTS at all to make a joke about this.
I don't either. I was more impressed that you knew BTS enough to make it. I mean, all I've got is Twice, right? That's the only K-pop group I'm aware of. I don't know anyone else who exists, essentially. But I like you.
That is incredible. That is incredible that you don't know that BTS even exists, because like they're such a global phenomenon.
I know they exist. I just don't know the people. I know the people in it. I know like of the song. Like it's impossible to not know about them. But Rift Out started up.
Well, they're gonna fight Cinkrof, who went over on the blast cone and flashed right back over there. As you can see, Adam trying to maybe put himself in a position to go in with the Dominus. The Rift Tower will be taken. Now he's a little bit on his own here. I don't know if he can survive this. It's taking a lot of damage. The Encore enough to give first blood over to the side to the LVP, 3rd seed. They get the objective, they get the kill, and that just seemed like a little bit of a misstep here from Corp.
That was just disrespectful from Corp. You can see that the Rakan is right there. He's not even hiding. And you just blast code in, not a care in the world. I don't know what you were expecting to happen here, honestly. And look, if you look at your mini-map there as well, you get the Rakan roaming up. You've just got 4 members of BTS here, but you've only got the 3 for Corp. Targamas hasn't made it here yet. So, whiteinn there, they turn that fight around, they get that Rift Herald, and it's a nice bit of gold to write home about for BTS, who hadn't really got a look in. Gat gold going towards Rubio as well now means he might have a bit of an easier time in this top lane, where he has been struggling despite the counter pick coming in with the Urgot.
Yeah, he's about 15 or so CS behind. Maybe about 10 CS now after he picks up this wave, and he's just kind of stacking armor, as you can see. He's got himself the Bramble Vest, he's got the steel-plated caps, he's got himself, so much kind of, just survivability within this lane, and the Iron Spike Whip, and for Adam, looks like he's going to be maybe going towards the Gore Drinker, excuse me. And that's kind of, what we've been seeing a lot from these Renektons. Despite the nerfs that would come in recently in the kind of last few patches, it has been a little bit, kind of, especially in the ERLs, has been still to go towards that, kind of early Gore Drinker to get that early impact in those team fights.
Yeah, when you see a lot of, dive buddies like you're seeing on BTS, the Gore Drinker makes a lot more sense. But if you need to try and close a gap and stick to people, we get the Stride Breaker coming out. But, oh, Targamas.
Targamas goes in, does take a lot of punishment, but you can see the rest of K-Corp trying to jump in on top of this one. The TP is there. They have to use the quickness. Shockwave, gonna catch one, not quite catching everybody else, but here comes Lebron, trying to see if he can get himself 3 points, but no, not tanky enough. They don't have the damage. They are just gonna run away a little bit limping as they take those health bars very, very low. It is still K-Corp who come out on top, but they might still look for a little bit of a dive. No, it's too dangerous. You have to respect the fact that that encore will be coming up very, very shortly.
Yeah, and I think not having the encore was the big difference maker there. The fact that you weren't able to get the CC train off, enable Lebron on this Volibear to dive in aggressively, kind of spelled disaster there for BTS. Now, luckily no one goes down. A lot of summoner spells invested, though.
Yeah, quite a bit kind of, you know, given on both sides, really. But the important thing here for K-Corp is they still have their 2 teleports available for this dragon fight in 40 seconds. They're going to get the resets in. They're going to get themselves back on these, a couple of different, you know, completed items. Important to recognize, though, right now is that you do have the Moonstone Renewer here finished up for the for Miniduke. So you have got that extra little bit of healing. Seraphine, not someone who's going to be spiking off of 1 item, but you are halfway to that 2-item spike.
Yeah, I mean, look, Seraphine is so obnoxious to deal with when you're playing these kind of short-range compositions, because 1 W and you basically get all the health back on your team. So I think certainly when we look towards these team fights, you got to play it safe here as a K-Corp. You want to be kind of dotting your I's and crossing your T's, getting the vision control, making sure you're not being caught unaware by BTS. But it looks like right now, with all those flashes and summoner spells burnt on the bottom side of the map, you don't really want to contest the second dragon as BTS. And I know we'd like to see it as LPL representatives in the EU Masters to fight for every dragon. It turns out that actually other regions don't.
Cowards. Cowards! I'm joking, of course. It is the technical right move. You know you can't fight it like you mentioned it with the summoner spells being down. It is just too much of a risk. And also, you do not have the ultimate from the Xayah either. But you are going to try and get a little bit of movement here on this top side. They jump in straight in on top of the dominance of Adam, who was just able to keep himself alive pretty damn easily. Trying to see if they can get him away underneath the tower. But Shelly's too busy counting minions on the back end of this. They're not even going to be able to get the charge off of this just yet. She's too concerned with the minions. Oh, this is awful. They're not even getting the charge off. She's trolling right there, and that is going to mean that is going to be an unfortunately useless Shelly. She just kind of like saw something, was like, ooh, what's this? Instead of playing with the minions. But dive doesn't work out. Rift Hell doesn't go off. That's just a little bit of an oopsie there from BTS.
Oh, that is heartbreaking. The fact that you don't get the charge there, and I mean, look, even a little bit closer and would have been able to get it, but it means the dive goes south. They aren't able to get anything. Even Saken able to walk up there to make sure he's able to keep his top laner safe. So that's a pretty big whiff for BTS when we talk about them trying to get some gold into their back pocket, open up this map, and certainly get Rubio back into this game. Because, I mean, yes, he got that first kill, but still struggling to a certain extent against Adam in this top side. I need to see a little bit more coming out from BTS right now, because look, xMatty is waiting to scale into things. He's going to be going for this on-hit Varus. He'll be looking towards that Immortal Shield bow, looking towards the Runaan's Hurricane, and that's when you're going to have K-Corp happy to fight. When Saken gets the 2 items, that's when K-Corp is happy to fight. Right now, they just want to sit back and scale, and for BTS, powering through this 1-item spike on Rubio, powering through it on Miniduke as well, is what they need to be prioritizing and looking to make things happen on this top side of the map.
Yeah, looking at Rubio right now, he's kind of welcome to Rubio's half-item shop as he starts to push in this lane. He's got himself the W just to be able to toggle that one down and get a little bit of extra damage onto it. You have, of course, got the Rakan and Volibear in tow to make sure that nothing too untoward happens. But looking on the other side for K-Corp, you've got the Gore Drinker now for Adam. You have the Gale Force here for xMatty. So xMatty now has a lot of kind of assassin ability almost in a 1v1 versus someone like Namex, because there's just nothing he can do if he gets jumped on. And you know, he'll have to burn a much bigger cooldown in his ultimate, or hell, even his flash, or maybe even his cleanse, depending on what's used to get away from that kind of a situation. And with 2 minutes and 20 seconds until that dragon spawns, it's going to be kind of a little bit of a timer here for the side of BTS to figure out what they want to do.
I mean, right now it's trying to see if they can get some sort of control of this top side again, get that last tower down, open up Rubio on the map, make sure that they can actually get this Urgot in towards this next dragon fight. Otherwise, you run into the problem where he's going to be trying to stay in this top side, keeping Adam busy, but not actually there for when the fight kicks off. And look at where Adam is right now, right? He's got his TP still. He's able to hold on towards his tower, and he can show up a little bit later to these fights because he's got big engage coming through from Targamas, Cinkrof, who can set up Saken and xMatty for this kind of 1-2 punch in the combo between the ultimates.
And that was the bot lane turret going down. That's going to be a lot of gold into the back pocket of xMatty. He's got himself a 20 CX lead as well, or 20 or so. As the Rift Herald does get taken against. That's the second Rift Herald here for the side of BTS as they look to try and maybe just crack open this top side. Adam does clear the wave. It's because Miniduke just popping over to say hi, throw a couple of vocals out at him and back themselves away. But already looking down the items, you can see first items being picked up for pretty much everybody on Corp. They are primed for this first fight. You need a couple more seconds or even a bit more gold here for the side of BTS to really want to try and contest this Drake. But if you let this one go, you're going to be sitting at, you know, a 5-minute timer, regardless of whether or not you want to fight.
Yeah, and especially when you're looking at, okay, all summoner spells are up across the board. You can have the likes of Adam play very deep in towards the back line, setting up Saken. Same when you look towards Targamas. And when Corp have so much control over this bottom side jungle, it becomes really difficult to spot out where Cinkrof is running in for, where Adam is coming from, Targamas is coming from. And those flank opportunities can spell disaster for the likes of Miniduke, forcing an early ult out of Namex, and then winning the team fight out for Corp.
You got a 2-level leave now as well for Cinkrof. He is not really going for a 50-50 if in the true sense of the word. Shelly going to be dropped for the second time, this time in mid lane, and this time will be getting herself a charge off. So that's a nice little bit of pressure there. TP coming in here from Rubio as the fight might just start straight away. The chains of corruption are in. You can see Lebron trying to jump out on the back side. They will get a suppression, and the fear that takes xMatty out and down for the count. The exhaust on top of Adam does stop him from running around rampant to the start of this fight, but the feather's not quite enough to keep everyone in the same place. Everyone now from BTS trying to back themselves away as the rest of Corp push forward. They found themselves a Xayah, and they're still looking for more blood. They'll have to back away, but they'll get the dragon and put themselves in soul point.
That's the key flashes we were talking about, though. Adam gets direct access to the backline and blows up BTS. Now this nails the third dragon for Corp. And when this team is still ramping up towards that 2-item spike we talked about, a 23-minute dragon potential soul for Corp is a disaster for BTS. But you can see it on this fight here, right? This is actually not a bad start for BTS. They get xMatty, bunch of CC comes down, mispositioned massively there from xMatty in this fight, but Adam turns this all back around. And with his positioning there, getting on towards Namex, getting on towards Miniduke, there's no more healing, there's no more damage that can come out as BTS have got to run for the hills, and Saken is able to provide that follow-up damage and that follow-up movement speed so Corp can chase them down.
Yeah, it just kind of feels a little bit like it was a great start, and then as you start to realize Renekton with a Gore Drinker is just ridiculously massive, and now with a TP in this bot side, is Xayah going to be turned into a little bit of KFC chicken, because this is not going to go. They're even going to be able to donate it over to Saken. So that is just a very good opportunistic play. And this is where the cracks start to form. This is where we start to get a little bit worried, and why we, for the side of BTS, but why we get very excited for Corp, because they are the kind of team that will punish the smallest of missteps.
Red team's turret. Well, I mean, it's a bit of a misstep right now from BTS. They've committed everyone towards this top side, which means you're able to get control over this mid, you can get control over bot wave, and they're forcing TPs out of BTS, which means that honestly, when you start to get more push power in this bottom side of the map, not having these teleports available for the likes of Barons, for the likes of these dragons, it becomes very difficult to hold on to the map. And my eyes are just drifting towards, this dragon that's in 3.5 minutes. Corp can just give it up, right? You don't actually need to fight for this objective. You can just play towards Baron, play towards this mid lane and top side, and actually get a lot of the standing gold that's on the map into your back pocket. Whereas BTS need to contest to this. They need to commit to the bottom side of the map, and that basically gives a guaranteed game plan to Corp, because they know where BTS are going to be located.
TP really deep there, and they're going for it. It's deja vu. It's deja vu on the bot side. You can see that they're running into the Urgot. They're going to try and kill him off. It's just a different person. It's the same thing. The more things change, the more they change the same. As we can see now, Rubio trying his very, very best, but it's going to be so difficult to 1v2 this. He gave a valiant effort. We salute you for your service. As we can see the shockwave going to be forced out there from Namex, or forcing the ult from Namex, excuse me. Saken does trade ult for ult, but his ult's on a far less cooldown than the Xayah's is. And now, what can you do for BTS? You've lost your bot lane control. You don't really have an option to go for the Baron right now, but maybe they go for it anyway. I don't know what they want to do.
I mean, they made the half-hearted attempt in mid, right? They tried to make some play like, look, our heart isn't really in this. We know this isn't going to work. And Saken, really smart job here. Just backs away, makes sure that he's in no real danger here. And now you've again committed BTS towards this top side, which means, hey, Adam, here's this wave that we prepped earlier. You get to go for the tower, you get to take it, you can back away, creating more pressure on this bottom side as well. And again, you've now got a bunch of standing gold that is going into the hands of Corp right before this dragon is about to spawn. You'll get that second item finish now for Saken as you get the Archangel Staff. You should be able to finish this Dead Man's Blade for Cinkrof, adding a bunch of extra movement speed to him. And honestly, Sterex Gage isn't far away from Adam either.
Yeah, he's probably looking right now. You can see him. He's just going to take this one last little minion, gets his nice setup and secured up and around, gives him a nice little bit of extra 90 gold, and should be resetting to get that pretty damn easily. 2 items there as well for xMatty. He's got the Lord Dominic's Regard alongside the Gale Force. Yes, you have the staff of flowing water here for Miniduke. You have got yourself a lot of sustain in these fights, but honestly, with the pure healing that's going to be coming out, the pure damage and the sustain, the pure kind of tankiness, I suppose, on the side of Corp, it's just going to be so difficult for you to cut through them.
It's the burst for me, right? I mean, we already saw what Saken could do when he got a QW combo on towards Namex. You had an actually shockwave that's hit into the middle of that, whether it's because of like a Chain's corruption or Targamas being able to lock him down. That is terrifying for BTS.
Let's see now, where do they want to go? 35 seconds until this dragon spawns. Maybe they go for a fight just before it. Tensions rising in this mid lane, and Corp, they're the ones who get into river first, so they have the advantage. Crucial to notice, Nideki does not have anything except his teleport, so he does not have a summoner spell that would be able to do it, but Saken does not have flash, so big kind of target on his back. And for BTS, they're trying to get mid lane control. Still 10 seconds until it. Dominus has been popped here by Adam. I don't think there's many places for him to kind of, force this one right now. And that's a big cooldown. They want to go for it. Never mind. He jumps straight in on top. Flash force there from Miniduke. They jump straight onto Adam. He's a very tanky boy, but the damage, it might not be enough. You can see there, Targamas jumping in with a Magnet Storm that just takes everybody in for a massive hug. And then you can see these blinking health bars, but it's going to be Corp who come out on top.
Just about able to come out on top though. Saken was kind of pushed out of the fight, so couldn't have that as much of an impact as he would have liked. But with that said, Corp get over towards the dragon. They will get the soul. Lebron is there, but I don't think he'd be able to make the hero play. But we're going to get the replay here. Adam flashing onto Miniduke to see if they can burst out this heal bot in the back. But Charm onto Saken and Adam means that Saken has got to run for the hills. Like, defensive shockwave just to keep Rubio off him means there's no real threat for the backline of BTS. And you can see there, trying desperately Namex is to get that Featherstorm off, get that recall that maybe can turn the fight. But there's just not enough damage in the bank when he hasn't been able to complete that second item yet.
And that's going to be the Mountain Soul, this, kind of team that we talked about in terms of, actually burning through them. Your damage that you don't really have on the side of BTS just became so much harder for you to kind of put down. And you need to make a decision right now, because right now they're kind of losing on all fronts. They're going to go for a pick onto Adam, who will have the dominance very, very shortly. They even commit the TP to this one as well. He will get knocked up, gets the Sterix popped as well, see if he can get anything going for it, but he will be shut down. That's a nice little bit of extra gold going into the pocket of the Xayah. But Corp, can they find a reply? Can they find someone to get into position to get a return kill? I think it would be a bit risky, but a 4v5 most likely in there against them, so need to back themselves up.
Yeah, they will be able to move away from this one. I wasn't the biggest fan of the commitment from the TP from Saken. They really wanted to try and turn that play around, but Adam just isn't tanky enough right now to try and survive all the members of BTS, apart from Miniduke jumping on him. I think it would have been better to hang on for that, but either way, it's a small blip in the radar for K-Corp. Like, look at the vision control they have over Baron. Thank you, observers. It is fully dark here coming in for BTS. They have no idea this has happened. Now they will spot it, but they've got to hightail it over here.
Yeah, TP coming in. Lebron now running away as fast as he can. Can you catch him? I'm a man-bear man, I guess. I'm gonna go for this one as they do get themselves away. I'm sorry, I was trying to think of something like man-bear pig, and I was just like, wait, no, that doesn't work with the gingerbread man. But
no, lyrical genius, rhyming man with man. Nobody saw it coming. Brilliant, just beautiful.
Thank you. I needed you to really, you know, give me that reassurance as we go into this mid-game flash forward. And they do get the encore down as well. xMatty, though, going to be able to keep himself alive by just sidestepping it. Now, Adam, he's just too much healing. He's just got too much damage, and he's shredding through these health bars. Shockwave hits across everybody. BTS are scattered, are dead. There's only one left, and the Baron is all yours, K-Corp.
I mean, this game is all K-Corp right now. 7,000 gold lead, about to be blooming up to 9,000 after this Baron goes down. That is so much gold in the hands of K-Corp. And when they've already got a lot of these outer towers down, there's not going to be much left standing between K-Corp and closing out this game. And even if you try to defend here as BTS, maybe, just maybe, you manage to hold on to your base with the wave clear that can come through from the Seraphine and the Xayah. You just back away as K-Corp over towards this Elder Dragon, and you can see these team fights not really working out for BTS. They tried to commit fully on towards Adam. xMatty positioning right the way back means that he's safe underneath the tower and buys time for the rest of K-Corp to show up. And this shockwave just seals the deal from Saken. BTS, they tried. They threw everything at the kitchen sink at this team, but it just wasn't enough.
And again, I want to really highlight xMatty there. Just, I can see it in the eyes of BTS. You land the encore on top of Adam, it goes and hits, you know, xMatty on the back end of that, who doesn't have flash, who doesn't have heal. Like, that's a one fight. You pick up 2 kills, you maybe go for the Baron off of that, but he sidesteps so beautifully. And you mentioned as well, just keeping himself within the range of the tower, out of the range of everybody who was trying to get on top of him, and he's just able to just throw out damage. Even if Adam dies there, it doesn't matter, because xMatty is just completely untouched and is just raining down absolute fire with those arrows. And now K-Corp, they're taking out the finals of the outer turrets. Now going to set their sights onto the inners. As these inhibitor turrets really start to come, and you don't really have wave clear right now if you're on the side of BTS. You have got the Xayah, but she's got very short range. You have to step up to get it, and the Seraphine is laughable, to say the least. You can see there with Cinkrof just pushing in this mid lane, the rest of the team pushing up top side. They're going to get pretty much everything. They have to go for a fight, but they don't even get anything. Cinkrof just walks away.
Now, I mean, look, K-Corp can do what they want. I mean, the LFL representatives are just controlling this game from start to finish. There goes Cinkrof.
They're going to go in. They're going to see the charm coming down, though. Those land on top of 4 people. They're going to see if they can get anything else off of this. Actually, a good fight here for BTS. They start to turn it around. The Encore able to get them 2 kills. They will lose themselves 2 inhibitors. The Baron buff still going strong here as well for at least another minute or so. You can see there K-Corp, they're thinking about it. They may be able to get another push onto these Nexus turrets, but it's very risky. I think their best call here is to back themselves up, reset, get themselves ready for that Elder Drake.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, without that burst damage coming through onto Miniduke, and namely Namex, you're not really going to be able to finish these guys off. And you can see it here in this. Cinkrof flashes forward to try and get the slow, but not quite able to get the play on towards Namex, who flashes away from the shockwave. And that is crucial. If Namex doesn't get that flash, he goes down thanks to the follow-up damage from K-Corp. And this does not go the way of BTS, but the fact that Xayah was able to stay alive means BTS now, they've got a couple of seconds to try and get some control back. This play that we're talking about from K-Corp about being able to shove in with Baron and back off towards this Elder Dragon isn't really the case. Now BTS actually have control of their jungle and could look to try and force it back, but K-Corp want to make sure they can stop any of that control coming out.
Yep, get rid of the Blast Cone as well. You can see the Wards just kind of scattered around this red buff as well, and Cinkrof needs to be a little bit careful. Could get caught out here. Without your jungler, you'd be in a very difficult position, but you can see Namex has to back away immediately. Has to use his ultimate to get away from the chain of corruption. Now you have no real escape here for Namex. He is relying on his positioning alone. Adam playing bouncer, saying you don't have to go home, mate, but you can't go here, as he gets himself just in a position to stop Rubio from getting any purchase off on this. You can just back away now if you're on the side of Corp. You don't even need this dragon. You can go for this fight. Adam jumps straight in on top of the Xayah. He is dead. Everyone falling down. That's all you needed. Triple kill here for the side of xMatty. Top it off with a quadra. And that's going to be the French #1 team taking this game over the Spanish #3.
And they make it look easy. This was so good from start to finish. Corp, take a bow and welcome to EU Masters.
Great start there for the LFL #1 beat. And again, this is why we were excited for this team. This is why we wanted to see what they could do on the stage. And it's been a good few EU Masters in a row where the most hyped team doesn't really live up to expectations, but that felt good from them.
It really did. And I think a lot of it kind of came down to how well they were able to play these team fights. We saw them actually getting off to some really, really good starts in the early stages when it came towards, the dragon control, playing off their bot lane push, playing off Saken being able to get control of this mid lane as well. And when you start to stack and rack these dragons, it's so easy to force these fights. And when you got a gold lead, it just makes it all the sweeter. Now, obviously, props to BTS. They did play with this Seraphine incredibly well and were nearly able to turn some of these fights back around. But unfortunately for them, that ballooning gold lead from the early stages just meant they couldn't keep track.
Yep, could not keep track of it. We'll talk about this game a little bit more in depth. We're going to send it to a break first. And when we return, we'll have a little bit more of a breakdown of exactly how Corp won. Welcome back, everybody. We are here to break down that second game. It was a solid effort from BTS, from Real Betis. It was a solid kind of try, but it just, I feel like if you're going to play standard against, as someone we kind of, garnered or dubbed the tournament favorites, they're just going to do it better than you. And I feel like Corp just kind of had everything in their, in their wheelhouse, and Adam just got massive.
Yeah, I mean, Adam was huge in these fights, and I think, honestly, like, it kind of just felt like a bit of a lane difference, honestly, up top side, where you get the counter pick from the Urgot, but Adam was still able to just power through that top side. It became a menace when we got to this team fight here at the second dragon, where he's just flashing into the back line, preventing any of that damage from coming through from BTS, causing massive disruptions. And across the course of the game, it really felt just like Corp were able to go, okay, cool, we've got a little advantage here, let's just try and build on that, let's try and run away with this. We saw big leads coming through from the jungle CS. We saw leads coming through from xMatty and Targamas in that bottom lane. But we overall kind of got to get to grips with the way Corp play their game, right? Oftentimes we saw Targamas and Cinkrof meeting up together to try and play through Saken in this mid lane. Then they started to try and transition that pressure into bot lane and through dragons. Like, this is what we were expecting when we looked at this squad.
Yeah, honestly, and it feels great, looking at this team. And like we said, Adam kind of, we don't do MVPs or player of the games, but if we were, I honestly think it would be Adam for me, because the guy was able to take that counter pick, was able to take the constant pressure that they applied. Like, multiple times we had BTS just stacking people into that top side, and it just didn't matter. He was able to find the opportunities, he was able to find himself the advantages, and he was able to just kind of absorb that pressure for the rest of his team, and then his team was able to kind of do the rest. You can see there the kind of gradual gold graph, it kind of goes in favor. And another person that we highlighted right at the start of the game is someone like xMatty on this Varus, just perfectly positioned, and maybe had like one or two small mistakes, but other than that, man was just untouchable in these fights.
Yeah, the guy was a monster. Same alongside Saken. Like, I know he was getting a lot of pressure coming through from the likes of this Volibear, and also coming through from Rubio on this Urgot, trying to get access to him. But he was positioned far enough back. He was able to use these shockwaves defensively. Like, just overall great mentality coming into these team fights, great positioning as well. And I want to highlight Adam as well, because obviously this guy is one of the big players we look at in that top lane as well. Like, he's kind of become the face of Corp, especially in the LFL region and for a lot of the fans. So to see him popping off game one certainly bodes well for the LFL, and I know a lot of the fans will be happy with this performance.
You always got to be happy when your number one team with the French top laner does very, very well. But that's how we're going to, kind of see how they do throughout the rest of this tournament. We're going to throw it to another quick break. When we return, we're going to have ourselves the third game of the day. It's going to be our final cast of the day. It is going to be the Italian PG Nats champions going up against Mouse Sports. And we're very excited to see how both of those teams do in that.